Oh, give me a minute. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? I'm sorry. I'm joking. I haven't seen Attorney Stephen Leahy in a while. We haven't done the show in a while. We hope you guys are having a good time out there Friday. I know. You called, but we didn't do it live. And then you did the show live last week, but I wasn't there, and I didn't call. And we didn't have Deborah. And that's big. We didn't have Deborah. I missed you, Deborah.
No, was she here when you did your show?
I was here when Jim came in and recorded, but
who hit a home
the
run?
live show, you were off. It was like you were off last week for me.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Contreras home run.
Well, that's good. It's a good start, Jim. We are always worried about the Cubs.
Did you guys already talk about Schwarber?
Yeah, I did talk a little bit about Schwarber. Yeah, that was good.
It was exciting.
Yeah, I thought we were. You were busy. Well, I was saying that the home run derby is more popular than the game.
Yeah.
The ratings were better than the games.
Wow.
It's kind of amazing. So we are live, as you know.
We are, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can find your daily dose of fun on the Law Office's Stephen A. Leahy Facebook page. Go ahead, like, subscribe, click, send to your friends, your family, your aunt, your uncle, your second cousin from St. Louis, your fourth cousin from New Hampshire.
Your distant college friend.
So we had my wife has some family down in Branson, right over the border where we went to go to the. We did a podcast earlier, so if you joined us,
again, there you go.
I'm Branson.
Let me tell you about Branson.
You'll
never stop.
It's funny you say that because yesterday I was on the train and a guy went to Wyoming, and at the beginning he got on at Northbrook, and I was listening. I didn't want to hear. Then I put my earphones on so I didn't have to hear. But he was talking about when we got downtown. It takes an hour to get downtown. He was still talking about Wyoming, so he's still talking about his trip to Wyoming. So I thought people generally don't want to hear about your trips, but I was just going to mention cousins and things because my wife has an auntie down there, her father's sister that she hasn't seen in many, many years, and so we had lunch with them at this place called On Top of the Rock, unbelievable place, Vista View. The guy who owns Bass Pro Shops. He I guess he's from the area down there. He owns everything down there in Branson and around the area.
That's what I hear.
And
he's the king of Branson.
He really is. He owns this on this Top of the Rock thing. They have two golf courses. One was designed by Jack Nicklaus. One was designed by Arnold Palmer. I mean, so pretty nice. Okay. And one right outside the back where we had lunch, they gave us a room for lunch because there was 10 of us. It was beautiful. Rustic, overlook. I got to show you the picture because it's so green because golf course.
You should post a photo on your Facebook page so listeners can see it too.
It is my cover. It's my cover. I already have. It's my cover,
nice.
And it's got like a church. Because he kept kind of the old and the new. It's really, really beautiful. Really nice. So anyway, that's what
it's called. On the Rock.
On the Rock, and it's a restaurant club like place. Really nice. Matter of fact, before I went, a friend of mine, Dickie Walsh, he said, I was just down there. You got to go to this place, Top of the Rock. Got to go there. And I kind of forgot about it. I did write it down in my phone. Then when we got down there, let me look. Oh, that's where we're going for lunch. So it was good. Okay, so we're gonna do the show. Isn't that right, Jim?
That is right.
Okay, so you're gonna stop business for a time.
I have to go.
Oh my Lord! No, I didn't. Okay, Jimmy's a see the difference between Jim and I. I've been doing this a long time. When I say doing this, I mean being a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for some time now, and I have people who take the calls. And if it's important, and when it's important, I do. One thing I was always taught. There's a book, one of my favorite books, from a guy named. I'll think of his name in just a second, but it's called "Eat the Frog," and it's about time management, and that time management is do the thing you hate to do first thing in the morning. Eat the frog. Nobody wants to eat the frog. So eat the frog first. And that way your day will be better. When you get a call that you don't want to take the call, even though you don't want to take the call. And that's
Brian Tracy.
Brian Tracy is correct. That's correct. And that's always been my philosophy, like with my clients. Sometimes, because I have clients who have, legal problems. Sometimes your legal problems don't go your way. And they don't go the way I want them to go. And it's hard sometimes to tell your clients that things don't go their way. Mm-hmm. But I always pick up the phone and tell you. Okay, I think so often, you call your attorney, or I'm talking about people in general, and they don't call you back. They don't want to give you the bad news. And they don't take your call, and you send them emails. And I think one of the biggest complaints I've heard from people about other lawyers and hiring lawyers is that they never return my phone call. So one thing I pride myself in is picking phone calls. So now Jim's back. We're going to do the show.
I do apologize for that.
Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, on AM 560, The Answer. Tune in every week at 5 for an informative discussion about IRS obligations, credit card debt, mortgage default, collection activity, and how to resolve these legal issues using tax resolution, debt settlement, mortgage loan modification, foreclosure defense, and bankruptcy. Your host is Stephen Leahy, and the principal at Open Tax Resolutions and the law office of Stephen Leahy, PC. Stephen is the author of Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. IRS and debt issues are serious, but there is help. There are resolutions. So get ready and take notes during the IRS Radio Hour. And now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hello, Chicago taxpayers. I am your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour. We're coming to you live from Studio C on AM 560, The Answer.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
I'm going to tell you something. I hate this Microsoft because it's just doing an update and took my script away from me. So that's where we're coming from.
I'm sorry. I thought I had an extra script for you.
I know you
Whatever,
did.
wing it. We haven't been together in 3 weeks. Come on.
So this show is sponsored by the law office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and OPM Tax Resolutions.
God bless you, OPM Tax Resolution.
OPM helps people solve IRS problems.
Get out of here.
Yes, they do. They help people with
audits
and
levies
liens and garnishments, collections, unfiled tax returns, and payroll tax issues. You got some of them. We also help people with mortgage foreclosures, loan modifications, bankruptcy, and other debt-related issues. So if you have any of these problems, or if you know someone who does, you should give us a call at 312-664
6649.
That's it. 312-664-6649. How'd you know I was going to do that?
I know you. Me and you.
Or visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. I am happy to announce that our technical producer, Deborah Schreiner, is here with us.
Hey, guys. Welcome back.
Deborah,
Both of you reunited.
It seems all three of us reunited since you were gone for a while, too.
Thank you.
It's July, and it's the vacation thing that gets in the way of everything.
You know what? It was we had George with us, and God, things were just terrible. I'll tell you what.
Don't tell George that.
Hey, now.
Because he did our show, and then he did my live show. He was my.
I know.
Okay, and I also that other voice you hear. That's my nephew, my co-host, my realtor, my nephew, my very good friend, Jim Leahy.
He's the talk of the country. He's incredible.
How did you get President Trump to say that about
I
you?
love it because I've been bashing him. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IRS Radio Hour. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, OPM Tax Resolution is there for you. Again, that phone number, 312-664-6649, as Attorney Stephen Leahy said. I'm your co-host and also could be your realtor. Give me a call, Jim Leahy with Ad Properties, 847-271-3695. Again, 847-271-3695. Listen, we're throwing a lot of numbers out for you guys, but trust me, you'll be hearing a lot of those numbers as
Here's
the
a
show
number,
goes on.
560 a.m. That's a number.
The answer.
The answer.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is good to be back again. We have Deborah Schreiner. We have Attorney Stephen Leahy. We got the group. Time to laugh. Time to chuckle. Time to tell you what's going on with the IRS. And without further ado, into the next, the news roundup.
Review and comment on the news. First I'm going to mention Branson.
That's right.
Okay, because Branson, terrible tragedy. I just came back from Branson. That's why I was gone for a week. It's terrible. I saw those ducks all over the place, and again, my heart goes out to them. Terrible, terrible thing. So I wanted to mention that. Again, last year at this time, probably wouldn't even known where that place is or ever heard about it. But now it's kind of odd where you go visit someplace and then next thing you know, it's in the national news, and for an unfortunate reason. It is unfortunate. So again, my heart goes out to them. Also, lots of stuff my heart goes out to President Trump, El Trumpo, because of what's going on in his life. He's being. I don't know. What do you think about that, Jim? Do you think that his misspeaking was the national catastrophe that's made out to be?
Yeah, I thought he did a terrible job on the trip.
I know. I agree
thought
with
it
that.
was I don't know.
He's not.
Dealing with.
He's no Ronald Reagan. He's no great communicator.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Not even Barack Obama. Listen, I wasn't a Barack Obama fan, but the guy knew how to speak.
Well,
that was one of his great skills was being an orator.
Well, I have to disagree because he misspoke a lot too. He did misspeak a lot, but I know what you're saying and I get that. Although what's been happening, right? We got to start pointing. Everybody's pointing to Trump's actions because actions speak louder than words. What has he done? And when they start talking about what he's done that's not beneficial to I don't. Where does it even come in that he is a Russian spy and he is really working he's not an American. He doesn't care about America. He's really worried about Russia. I mean, where does that even come into play? How can anybody even entertain such a thought? It's just ridiculous. I don't know. It's just another way. And all the people saying that this is a reason for him to be impeached. We're saying he should be impeached before this.
Yeah.
So it's it's just another reason.
It wasn't as terrible as they said it was going to be. But you know what? Then he backtracks on what he said.
Whatever he meant. But again, then they say, well, we told him, we gave him proof that it was so. That kind of supports his. That kind of supports
people that went after you, like say in Watergate, because you guys were accused of buying. I mean, that's why the whole Watergate thing was going, scandal was going down because Nixon was trying to tap in because they were bringing in allegedly prostitutes. The Democratic Party was. That's the whole reason why they did that. Mm-hmm. No. So we're supposed to believe the same group that was going after you.
But that supports
that you guys have dragged through the mud anyway because you didn't agree with them with the Iraq thing, going into the Iraq war. You guys brought. It's all just a political
But the whole point
lie.
that they're
Just
saying that he knew that Russia was behind it kind of supports his position that he misspoke.
What does that mean?
Because he said he knew.
What does that mean? Here's the thing: Barack Obama comes out saying, "Hey, this is what happened. You can't come in and alter our elections.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
And then it comes out, no, it's the elections are altered. It's like, well, what is it?
Not only was it possible, they did it.
They did it
on your watch because you were the president at the time.
Is it the Russian entity, or is it Russian nationals that did it, or
Tell
is
me
it the government?
Tell me if I say this right. Is it meme? Is it meme?
Meme.
The meme out there now about Benjamin, not Netanyahu, saying, where was all the outrage when Obama was interfering with our elections in Israel? Where's the outrage? Nobody cared. Where's the outrage when we do this in Crimea or all over the globe, America? Now, again, I understand why we do it, and I'm not outraged about it. But I'm not one that's outraged about. I don't. Is it surprising to you that Russia's trying to play hijinks in our politics, or China? What about Charlie Tree and all of the Chinese that gave to Clinton and all of that trying to
they're
interfere with our
altering their
election.
election. So they're quote unquote interfering with their elections. Is it not interfering with elections when the Clinton Foundation takes
Yes.
foreign money from,
Yes.
from So get out of here.
I
It's
agree.
all because you guys lost the election
agree.
and you guys
I
are
agree.
kicking and screaming
And
because you picked the worst candidate in history.
This is why
Hillary Clinton.
this
That's
is-
why Donald Trump
I agree.
won.
I agree
It's
with
not
that.
because he's a great
I
candidate.
agree with that. Well, I don't know
Right,
about that.
you love him, but
I don't
not
love him.
because
I keep hearing that I love him. I'm not a trumpeter. I've been saying
you
that since
are
day
a
one.
trumpeter.
My
There's
kids
nothing
tell me
that
the
guy-
same thing, but I'm not a trumpeter. But I do like a lot of the things he's done. So Kavanaugh's
I agree.
another
I agree.
reason. I love that. I love the what he's doing with the courts. To me, it's imperative. It's the key to everything. Without the court system, we've lost our freedoms, and it's been demonstrated over and over and over again. And if that was the only reason to put him there, that's good enough for me. That's just a fact. And I hope. I hope if we're going to get two more after this, I hope that somebody like Trump or somebody like him is in charge, so we can get our courts doing what they're supposed to do, and that's interpreting the law and not making the law.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, it would
Wouldn't
be
that
nice.
be nice?
But of course, that's the role in the Constitution. That's what it spells out. It's so clear the way it's supposed to be done. And how can our elected representatives be protesting the fact that we want to put a judge in that's going to do what the Constitution tells them they're
You
supposed
have
to do?
elected officials already saying that.
I got my Constitution tie on.
You have elected officials such as Maxine Waters saying go after.
You see,
I can go.
you see
Ladies
all
and
of her
gentlemen,
protesters
hold on, yeah.
burn the flag
Yeah.
in front of her office.
Those are the people we want,
I
right?
know, exactly.
Anyway, ladies and
Exactly.
gentlemen, Open Tax Resolution is there to help you. We got a great show lined up for you today. What are we doing on the blog segment? Run out of time?
Well, we might talk about Judge Kavanaugh, or we might talk about something else.
Depends on what you guys want to hear. We're going to take that. We're going to, over the commercial break, we're talking about a great show lined up for you today. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your help to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Hopefully you got your pen and piece of paper out. We're going to give you some great content coming your way. So stay tuned after the commercial break. I got a little bit more time. Remember, Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649. Here on AM 560, The Answer.
I like that, Jim. I like that. Just be yourself, Jim. Don't try to hide behind a persona. Just
I
be
am
yourself.
myself.
I know. That's your persona. People don't believe it's you, but it's you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That can't be him.
Comment
It's him.
below if you believe it's me.
It's him. Believe it.
We need to see.
Believe it.
I think it's an AI, Jim. You're secretly a robot, but you're pretty realistic.
I am a robot.
Yeah.
We never know these days. I was talking about the robots that call you people now and how realistic they are. You know,
I
that
want a
peop-
teacup pig.
People
I
have
really want a teacup pig.
Why can't my computer
Baby pigs.
install this update very quickly?
I
and-
want a baby pig.
You got one.
No, I'm watching videos. It's like
You know what's good about baby pigs? They grow up to be
I don't
big
think
pigs.
people should have them as pets.
I don't know. They have those little.
I think pets are just very cool.
I had a friend of mine had one of
I
those
mean,
little.
maybe on a farm.
I had a friend of mine had one of those little pigs, and he lived in the city. He had one of the pigs as a pet. It was like a dog. I don't know if you've ever been around pigs.
They're intelligent.
What was the pig's name?
I forget the pig's name.
Leor.
I don't know if you've ever been around pigs, but my dad had
Never.
a farm and we had pigs, and they are very smart, like dogs.
I know they're
You know,
smart.
and
They're brilliant.
My
yeah.
dad used to stand. We had a sow named JoJo, and my dad would.
What's that?
A sow is the
Oh, a
the mo-
sow.
yeah,
I thought you said a salad.
no, a sow, and her name was JoJo. And my dad would be on the fence and just start yelling, JoJo, JoJo, and she would come a running. And
They're smart.
oh yeah, because the sows you don't eat them. We ate her piglets. We ate them, but I know it's
Poor JoJo.
Poor JoJo was fine because she got fed. She got fed a lot.
She lived her full life.
She lived her full life, and she was very large. They
Well,
get
you
very
know what?
large.
Here's the thing. That's just life. Yeah, you gotta eat.
Well, that's
you
what
eat
that's
it,
what
yeah.
we do. We eat animals. That's what we do. That's what I do.
It's sad.
Unless you're a vegan or vegetarian.
Yes.
That's why, yeah, like, I
and
like.
I,
So
and I
here's
make
the
room
thing.
for them too.
I like going to zoos. Don't get me wrong. I like going to zoos. Except for going to the big ape exhibits, because then you look in the eyes of the girl
Oh,
and
no,
you're like,
no.
oh man.
They're stuck in this little.
And then you got kids like, hitting the glass, and you're like, oh,
I know. I had this one.
it's not really.
Oh, I'm not going to talk about that. Joey we went in St. Louis some years ago, and I have this great picture because I told you I was down in St. Louis. We 7 years ago or 8 years ago, I took a great picture of Joey and Jake in front of the Capitol at St. Louis with the arch behind it. Beautiful picture. And then we were going to the game. There's the arch there. I took the picture again right with them right next to it. It was a great picture. It's amazing how the kids grow up. 8 years, it's unbelievable. They were just little boys then. Now they're grown kids. I'm out there drinking with them. Well, I shouldn't say that. We could have been drinking. We're not drinking buddies. What are you, drinking buddies? No,
Have
we're
a
not
couple
drinking.
of Pepsis.
So we should talk about what the blog segment ought to be. I talked about. Remember what was I suggesting before? Maybe
Judge Kavanaugh.
Well, Judge Kavanaugh would be a good one. I think we could talk about Judge Kavanaugh and the.
Well, I mean, for
But
example,
I mentioned something else too. What did I
Well,
mention?
we could talk about
about
how
how I sometimes I don't take cases.
That's right. That's what we're talking about. That's been a theme within your office. Not recently, but I know that's been a theme.
Well, it's been happening a lot in that because here's the thing. I've been getting, I get so many, well, let's talk about that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about me not taking cases, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But that I take, because they really come from people who refer people to me. And I always will talk to, okay, we'll talk about it on the show. We'll do that.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hey, welcome back. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with Deborah and Jim.
We hope you listen to those
I'm gonna
sponsors.
Listen to the sponsors. We have go to our YouTube channel. Check out our videos. We do the show. We record the show so you can watch the show. And I'm looking at it right now. I'm very tan. It was very hot down there in Brazil. 95 degrees every day. It was hot. And
I swear to God, if you talk about one more thing from Branson.
I can't. That's what I'm talking about. But we're going to talk about something else because this is the blog segment.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
Jimmy's a funny boy. He makes me laugh.
Thank you so
Which is
much.
why he's my co-host, because he makes me laugh.
Oh,
His daddy
we do
used to
have a
make me
lot
laugh.
of fun. And again, going on with the YouTube channel. Remember, ladies and
You want to
gentlemen.
go on about
if
Bronson?
you-
Just kidding.
Bronson?
Charles Bronson? What?
Go ahead, Jim.
No, what I was saying is that if you guys are out there and you missed a segment or you're not getting the answers that you want to that question that's burning deep inside, remember, go to YouTube, go to ChicagoTaxTeam.com. There's former videos on there where you can get that kind of dialogue between me and Attorney Stephen Leahy, where you can get those answers, most likely. But if you can't, remember, open tax resolution. We'll answer them for you, 312-664-6649. And you can also watch the show live on Fridays. That's right. If you like Attorney Stephen Leahy's page, like, subscribe. You can watch it live and ask during the live
That's
feed,
right.
and you can get that question
Now,
answered.
this is kind of going to go to what I'm going to talk about today, because as the blog segment is about what's going on in my office, that's what we're going to talk about. And it's really about, it kind of goes to the YouTube channel and all these things. Why? Because it gets me out there, right? I share all this stuff, and people hear about me. And I always encourage you, as I'm going to encourage you right now. You have a question, call me. I'm going to answer your questions, even if it's not even in my line, okay? Because I've told you to call, and so Bonnie, who is my scheduler, who answers my phone call, she's instructed. If somebody calls and says they listened to the show, or they got me from the show, or they got me from someone else who listens to the show, She's supposed to put him through, either give him a telephone consultation, or bring him in if they got to bring him in. And because I encourage you to do that, I would be it'd be kind of disingenuous of me if I didn't go follow through on that. So I do follow through on that. And what that means, and I tell people this every time when they come down and talk to me, and it's happened a couple of times this week. So this week I had a client from a local judge who recommended me to somebody, and another attorney from Lake County had a client coming out of Chapter 13 who still has an IRS problem, and he's sending them to me, and I'm going to sit down and talk to them. I had another attorney friend of mine who sent somebody to me who's having some problems with their business, and they came down to me. And these two of these people, I didn't take the case. Because it's not right yet for them to hire a lawyer, okay? And what I always tell people, and this is what's wrong with a lot of these outfits, okay, is that you're going to call them and they're going to try to sell you something, and whether you need it or not, okay, because that's their job.
We spoke about it too. I mean, you've had, for example, some people that are selling their home in the northern suburbs, and the person that they were working with before, the realtor, is saying, "No, we're below market value." Well, they've been on for 2 years. Obviously, you're not below market. There's a problem here.
Well, that's one of these people that just came to see me, right? Because they're having problems in their business, and they were talking about bankruptcy, whether bankruptcy is right for them. And I went through it with them, and I had to tell them, it's not right for you, okay? You have too many assets. Bankruptcy won't work for you, and at least not the way you want it to work for you, okay? So there's other things you can do besides bankruptcy. But it's the same thing with tax stuff. Sometimes people come to see me, and it's just they just waited too long, or there's really nothing I can do to help them. And if that's the case, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, because it doesn't do me any good to have a client that I'm not going to take money from you and then not help you, because that's not going to help me, and it ain't going to help you.
You know what, Attorney Stephen Leahy, I do the same thing when I operate my business as well. I had a gentleman come in with a very, very actually beautiful home, rather expensive, and he goes, "Well, I don't know if I should rent it or if I should sell it." And I had to go up to him and said, as great would it be? I mean, would it be great for me to come out and say, "Hey, yeah, I'd definitely like to list it. Let's list it"? I told him, I think the smart decision for you, again, because he rented to own. I think the smart decision, go rent to own.
Well,
and then
when people are looking to you for advice, and that's what they do, right? Then it's my job to give you good advice, not based on what's good for me, but what's good for you. Okay, but again, in the end, selling you something that you don't need is not good for me either, because if you go online and you look me up, you'll see a lot of good reviews that I have, and I'm very proud of those reviews. And there's not a lot of negative stuff going on out there for me. Why? Because I don't take these cases, and I don't take money from people if I can't help them. And sometimes people just need good advice, and again, that's what I try to provide. So for instance, if you're an attorney out there and you're listening to the show, and you have someone to say, "Hey, you don't know enough about my area of the law, as I don't know enough about your area of the law." So someone might ask me something about a personal injury case and I know people who are really good at that area of the law. And so I won't give you that information because I don't know enough about it. But if you call me and say, "I listened to your show, I had this question," and I'll tell you, I don't know enough about that, but let me tell you who does. This gentleman does, and I will send you to this gentleman who does know enough about it to answer your questions. Because I'm not going to try to answer questions that I don't know the answer to. Again, it doesn't do you any good, doesn't do me any good. Okay, I don't know all the answers. Believe it or not, Jim, I don't know all the answers, but I do know. I know enough, again, that I know people who do know the answers.
Exactly. I have the same thing too. I just recently had somebody come up to me and want to list their home, and I said, "Yeah, of course, I'll help you out, but I'm not an expert in this market." So I went, "Well, you know what? At this point, it's not about the commission. It's about making sure that I get the job done properly. So that's why let's bring somebody on so we can get the job done." This is why
people can trust you, okay? Because that's why people can trust me, because I'm going to steer you correct. Okay, I'm not going to try to sell you something you don't need. Again, a lot of this tax resolution stuff, you hear it on the radio all the time. Pay pennies on the dollar. Let me show you how. And people call me all the time. Once they file a lien against you, right, that's public information. And you're going to get phone calls from people. And they're going to, I just had a guy come in and tell me, I got phone calls. They're telling me, we could save you 80%. We can knock it down 80%. Well, it turns out this guy's got a pension and IRAs with lots of money in it. There's no way he's going to get 80% of. He's going to get what they call the offer in compromise, because that's not how it works. How can somebody who doesn't know anything about you tell you how they're going to solve your problem?
Exactly.
Well, the answer is they can't.
I mean,
Okay?
it'd be nice to get there.
But that's an easy sell, right?
Exactly.
If you call me and you say, I owe the IRS $100,000, you think I could pay pennies on a dollar, 10%? And I said, yeah, sure. Where do I sign up?
I just had I know a guy, he's going in through a deal and they agree on the price. He goes, okay, well, I'm just letting you know that I'm going to forego my commission. So will you drop the price after they just agreed on it? It's like, what are you trying to sell here? How are you trying to do the sales technique? Watch out, because that's going to happen in every industry. Basically.
It does happen.
You have to go
trust
with
the
somebody
person.
you
That's
trust. Right. And that's why Attorney Stephen Leahy with Open Tax Resolutions, he is tried, tested, and true. That's why you go to Avon. Am I correct?
Yes, but this is one of the Avo. This is one of the,
I apologize.
This is one of the good things about this show, okay? About the videos, that people see these videos, because I've gotten so many calls. People said, I've watched the show, I've watched these videos, and I think I can trust you just by watching the videos, because they see the interaction, they hear what I'm saying, and they have a feeling like they're familiar with me and they know me, and so they trust me. So I want people to trust me. Right, because that's a big part of any ingredient in my job, is that you trust me, and part of that is that I'm going to always be honest with you. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth, but I'll always tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. And that's just the way it works in my office. And I think it should be in everything, whether it's real estate or mortgage broker, any professional that you're looking to. Look for honest people who are going to give you honest answers, not just try to sell you something, because maybe you don't need it, and don't buy things you don't need.
That's right.
That's my own
gentlemen.
opinion.
That's why Open Tax Resolution is a hit right out the park. Remember, Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649, and visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. That's going to be your hub to fight the IRS, not his hub, not her hub, not my hub, your hub.
It could be your hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, 312-664-6649. Or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. I just get so used to saying that. Go to YouTube. Watch the videos. There's answers out there for your questions. So remember, 312-664-6649. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen to our sponsors and come right back here
Trump
on
segment.
AM 560.
The answer. I should have talked more about the people that have referred me. I said lawyers and judges. I think I did mention that, though. But I'm kind of surprised sometimes when a judge will I have a friend who knows a judge, and the judge highly recommended you. And I said, well, who's the judge? And they'll give me the judge's name. I'm like, oh, I've appeared before that judge several times. So it makes you feel good that, at least the people that you're appearing from, they have some, and of course the judge would have a good idea about how I was going to say perform, but it's really, what kind of representation I give my clients. And so,
now, everybody know I am the judge.
I love that. I do love that. And that's why I wanted to talk about, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about Kavanaugh is because I wanted to hear that. So thank you, Debbie.
So you're doing the Trump
We're
segment
going to do
here?
Trump. We're going to do Trump. Trump. All Trump all the time. Why do people keep saying I'm a Trumpeter?
Because you like Donald Trump.
You
have a segment for the guy.
Well,
you didn't have a segment for Barack Obama?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. It's called the IRS
that wasn't directly for Barack Obama.
And
also,
you called him Barry Sotero.
Yeah, and this one has the song "Jump" by Van Halen, and all you do is defend the guy.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
We have returned. I am your host. I'm Stephen Leahy, like the guy just said. I'm here with Deborah and Jim. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
The Answer.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, sorry.
Let's do the segment.
We're talking about Trump. Trump!
Take a look at my Twitter account.
President Trump!
Sort of amazing.
We're talking about Trump. Trump!
America first.
President Trump!
Together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. God bless America. Got the Constitution tie on. I keep telling you that because it's my symbol of perfection. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about Trump because everybody in the world's talking about Trump, Jim. The whole world. Russia's talking about Trump. The Europeans are talking about Trump. China's talking about Trump. The Democrats are talking about Trump. The Judge Janine is talking about Trump. Whoopi Goldberg's talking about Trump. And so we're going to talk about Trump. What do you think about that, Jim? You want to talk about Trump? Now, I'm going to have to deny this, okay? Because Jim's saying, and my kids always say, you are a Trumpeteer. I'm not a Trumpeteer.
You are a Trumpeteer.
They say, now, here's the thing. I'm not a big Trumpeteer because I don't really, Trump himself, not a big fan. What he's done, some of the things, I am a big fan. I think what's going on, I keep hearing about these, no, I'm not going to talk too much about the Russia thing because I think it's all overblown and really meaningless. Okay, whatever he said at a stupid press conference. See, the press makes a big deal about it because it's a press conference. He said something. Oh, my God. But it's really about what he's done. And that's what I have to always go back to. He says a lot of stupid stuff and he tweets stupid things. But what he is doing in our government is what I like, okay? Reducing regulations, okay? Putting in constitutionalists. These types of representing American workers in the trade wars. These are the kind of things that I have to say I do support. Not so much Trump himself. Again, the things he says, the things he does, kind of goofy. I sometimes I liken him to Barack Obama because I always used to make fun of Barack Obama because no matter what it was the biggest, the best, the greatest, the most, and Trump's the same thing. Most politicians are the same. This is the biggest, the lowest minority unemployment rate in the history of America. So we always got that from the other side from Obama, and I always made fun of that. As I will make fun of Trump for saying that because even if it's true, it's just kind of and most of the times it's not true. It's the way you kind of we talk about government numbers that they're not always accurate. And so if I don't believe him when Obama's in charge, I certainly don't believe him just because Trump's in charge. What do you mean I do?
Before we had this conversation where it's like, look, the numbers are up, and then we've
the
had
numbers
this conversation on the show.
The numbers are up.
We've had
but
this
I
on
said,
the show, though. It's
they're still calculated, even though I can argue about the way they're calculated and that they're not always accurate. The numbers are what the numbers are. I get it, and I understand what you're saying. But again, that's what I don't like about Trump.
Listen, do I like what Donald Trump stands for? There are some things that I like. I like the idea of a change of the guard. Like the idea of draining the swamp. Yes. I like that idea. I mean, I think everybody should get behind that idea. I don't think you should be in office for 40, 50 years. I think that's ridiculous.
Do you see what happened to Feinstein and
I saw that, yes.
In California?
Let me continue. But
we're running out of time.
I know, but you need fresh faces. But there's other things that I don't like. I don't like how he presents himself. It's not very very presidential. I don't like how he tweets.
I've already.
I didn't like how he handled England. How he's walking around and treating them that way.
Did you see the number of people that of pro-Trump supportors in England?
I'm sure there are a lot. I'm
sure
there
huge.
were a ton. Because the media, because he's right. He's right. The media suppresses everything.
Everything. They but the more they do that, the more it supports him because you can look and see that there was these pro-Trump rallies and not from the media. And when the media doesn't cover it and it's covered somewhere else, you have to go somewhere else to find it. That just supports him because he's saying that it's all against him, and it is all against him.
I wish we had 15 minutes here because I could go off because again, this is the media. I know, but this is the media here. How they're going to change the way you think. They're already doing it. They already have the PC culture embedded. Wait until they change history for them. That's coming next.
But Trump is evidence that they don't control the way we think because it was up to them.
He was an outlier.
If it was up to them.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, there's big backlash coming from that.
I think it's against the media. That's my point. All this stuff that's going on, it supports Trump more. The more that the media is against him, the more that it supports him.
He did a bad job on the
whatever. I thought it was right that he should be against that NATO should pay more. They promised to pay more. They should pay more. It just makes sense.
I agree.
And I don't think that's against our allies when your friend says, "Hey, I owe you $10. Pay me the $10."
Yeah, guess what? That's what the IRS does.
That's what friends do.
And that's why Open Tax Resolutions is there for you. 312-664-6649. Visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. Going to be your help to fight the IRS. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We had a heated discussion, and we got another one coming up because it's Mr. Know-It-All, and Attorney Stephen Leahy's going to give us his infinite wisdom on all things taxes. That's after the commercial break. So listen to the sponsors and come right back on AM 560.
The answer. Yes, I could do another 10 minutes on that.
I can't too because you know what? Now they have a new movie. Okay, so they have that new video game coming out, Battlefield 5, where it's supposed to be in World War II. They have women in combat. That they put women in combat. It's like, it's funny. Once these people die, you have to change the whole narrative and the
way
guy,
the world works.
Hold on, what the guy said on the game. He goes, "If you don't like it, don't buy it." Because I can't sit there and tell my daughter why I can't explain why women weren't in World War II and how they're not represented. It's like they had a very integral part in World War II, but they were not in combat. Okay, so don't think that they were. Don't put 21st century politics into something that happened before.
And it is politics.
It is. It is all politics.
And when we put women on the front line, it's only about politics. It's not about what's best.
Whatever. I agree with you, and that's not a conversation I'm going to get into because I can sit here for 5 hours talking about it. Because, again, you know how I think.
So you know what that means when someone says that to me? If you don't like it, don't buy it?
I said, you know what?
Guess what?
Thank you so much for making
I'm
my
your
decision.
market, and now I don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
I agree with
making
that.
a decision. Look, and I'm a little older too.
Yeah, you don't like
I'm
it.
older too. I probably shouldn't be. You know, I'm getting busier with business, so I don't really have time for it.
There's enough competition out there that you don't have to buy that.
Exactly. I'm not going to.
I think they try to make it like girls and boys are equally involved in games.
They're not.
No, they're not.
They're not.
It's just not the way
they're
it works.
not. And I love it when people are like, "Oh, actually, take a look at the numbers here." Actually, if you know those studies, they use them. They include cell phone video games. So no, it's not the same. Console video games are predominant or vastly male.
Yes. I know. But they don't want to. They don't want to admit that there's a difference between men and women.
It's not.
Well,
hold on.
Have you heard that there's a movement of a small group of people, parents, who are going to choose to raise their children without revealing their gender or assigning them a gender? They are going to let them just
evolve.
Listen, we've had society has become so easy. It's just so easy to live
That's not good for society.
No, it's not.
It's not good for them. It's not good for the kids.
It's not.
They should. That could be child abuse in my mind. That's child abuse.
I agree.
Okay, because you're causing them emotional pain and you have to have direction in life. You can't be going vacillating. I saw this thing about this 12-year-old girl talking about being a lesbian. I'm like, why would? And she's out there advocating for this. I'm like, okay, and now. Besides the fact, I don't care what but really at 12 years old, should her parents be going out of their way to concrete it in that she's a lesbian? I mean, well, and the problem is that you can't say that there's something wrong with being a lesbian. And it's just that if you want your kids to be happy, statistics show that not being gay goes towards happiness. It's just a fact.
All right. Well,
I'm not. It is a fact. It's a fact.
As I'm doing work, you throw that. I'm not getting. Listen, what I'm trying to say here is
Let's talk about
statistics. No. I'm talking about how they're just changing history. We're not going on that.
It's the same thing. That's changing history.
Okay. Whatever. I'm not touching it.
Whatever. You didn't have to. I did.
Let's just saying that. Okay. So
no, wait. Let me think about. Let me think about the next segment because I have to have a. Because I had several questions I wanted to talk about.
It is ridiculous that they come out and because you know what I look at a neighbor's kid as he plays that Battlefield 1 and it's World War I. He's playing it and he only knows about World War I from what the video game is telling him. Now you're going to have these kids get completely confused going, oh, women were in World War II. No, they were not in World War II. There were 2,500 combat units in Russia.
What about his nurses?
Oh no, he said
No,
he's
no,
already given them.
no,
They played
no,
an integral
no,
part
yes,
in
yes.
not
they
only
played-
that.
women played a very important role in World War II when it comes to the home front, when it comes to when it comes to medical,
all of it.
and when it comes to rear echelon. Very important stuff. But do not it's the over and misrepresentation of women in combat that is wrong. That is wrong.
Now, wait, even if it's right for women to be in combat, and I'm not going to go whether that's true, right or wrong. It doesn't matter. The fact is they were not.
That's what I'm saying. World War II, they were not they were not in combat roles. They were not in combat situations. Well, can't say combat situations because civilians were thrown in it. And also, Russia brought up the reserves, and they had women snipers. Now, mind you, the women were not on the front lines, though. They were not front line. Did they see combat? Yes. And there was an estimated 2,500 to 5,000. You can look this up.
I know, but the numbers at 5,000 and the number of people that were involved.
That's what I'm saying.
It's minuscule.
That's what I'm saying. It's
not
unbelievable.
It's not
it's really
0.001.
unbelievable. It's really 250,000 women served the United States in World War II. Served the United States in World War II.
Question.
Okay, you think about the question.
I had a question.
250,000 women served the United States in World War II. Served it with honor and dignity, but it's a misrepresentation as our part in society to misrepresent history and show that they had a combat role. No, they did not. They did not have a combat role. Please. It's disrespectful to those who fought in World War II. It's disrespectful for the women who gave their time, who gave their commitment, and they sacrificed a lot to help their country win the war. It really is disgusting.
And it's
it really is disgusting.
And it's a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah, that's what I'm going at.
It's a lie. Okay, let's do the next segment.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
I am the tax man. And this is IRS Radio Hour on AM 560. The Answer. Here with Jim Leahy, Deborah Schreiner, and we're going to talk about stuff.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where attorney Stephen Leahy gives us his infinite wisdom on all things taxes.
Okay, so I get a lot of people from mortgage brokers because people go try to get a loan, maybe refinance their home, something like that, and then they go to get a mortgage and they find things on their credit report that says you can't get a mortgage, like tax liens, like back judgments, things like that. If you have, and so sometimes they'll call me, and I had to call this last week. I'm trying to improve my credit score, but I really don't want to file bankruptcy because that'll hurt my credit score, won't it? And the answer is some kind of counterintuitively. Sometimes filing for protection under the bankruptcy laws can be the fastest way to recover and make your credit score improve. Well, how can that be? Doesn't bankruptcy hurt your credit score? Well, the answer is yeah, it does. But what if my credit score already stinks? And it's not, and it can't really get much worse. So then what can happen? Well, if I don't file bankruptcy, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to clear up those judgments. And that means if I have a judgment against me for $7,000. So, in this instance that I'm talking about, she had a repossessed vehicle and the deficiency was $9,000. And she really didn't owe a lot of money, but in addition to that $9,000, but to pay that $9,000 back, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a couple of years, maybe more, for her to pay that. And by the time, so she has to do that before she can start having an approved credit score because it's showing up as a negative until it's paid. It's going to show up as a negative on your credit score. Well, what if I went ahead and I filed for protection under the bankruptcy laws and I discharged that debt? Well, now I don't owe that $9,000, and yes, it will appear on my credit score. But I can rebuild my credit score now. Now I can start rebuilding my credit score because I don't owe anybody. And in those 2 years or 3 years that it might take for me to even repay back that one loan, not even including these other loans that I have or these other bad marks on my credit score, now in 2 years or 3 years, my credit score, I've seen people after 2 years or 3 years out of bankruptcy in the high 700s, 800s in their credit score. So now I've rebuilt my credit score. And one of the main tools that I used in order to build my credit score was bankruptcy. And so again, it's kind of counterintuitive about the way this works. Yes, you have to be out of bankruptcy as a period of time before you can get a loan. But before you ain't going to get a loan if you have an outstanding judgment. You have these bad marks on your credit score, and the only way to correct your credit score is to pay off those debts, and that's going to take some time.
That makes sense.
That's going to take some time.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a long process.
Yes,
but
and so again, that's why sometimes bankruptcy can be a shortcut to a way to improve your credit score. Again, counterintuitive, what most people don't think of, because they always think, well, it won't, because you do hear it does. It's true. Bankruptcy hurts your credit score, unless it's already so bad that it can't be hurt anymore.
That's right.
And that's usually the case with most people who are filing bankruptcy. Now, it's true that I've had people who have very high credit scores who have been kind of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and they've made it, and they've always made all their payments, and their credit score is great, but they're just creating it's all false because they're borrowing money to pay. It's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, okay? And the Ponzi scheme has gotten them a high credit score, but they can't keep doing this because they can't keep making all these payments. And the only way to get out of that then is to file bankruptcy. And if you file bankruptcy in that kind of situation, yes, your credit score is going to tumble. And it's going to, but in that kind of situation I just described, eventually it's going to tumble anyway because you're going to start missing payments because you're going to reach your credit limits. You're not going to be able to borrow to pay the minimums on these things anymore.
Exactly.
And it's just
turns
spiraling
into
down.
Yes,
it's a spiral down.
Spiraling. You know what? That's why it's great too because you're really connected with individuals that can help repair your credit score.
That's right, Gary Novell. Yes,
that's right. In fact, I have a gentleman that has that's looking to buy a home. He has he's had some prior trouble in regards to in regards to his credit score, and I actually said, give this Gary Novell a call. It's a great tool.
I hope you gave him your name and told him to drop your name there because Gary's a friend of mine.
Yeah, that's right.
And Gary helps people. And, when I also work with David Hochberg. And David, if you're looking to buy a home and you're having some credit problems, you go see Gary Novell. He helps you improve your credit score. And
That's
David
right.
Hochberg will credit his fees back to you. So Gary's services will be free to you. And that's a big bonus.
That's a
bonus.
service that you can't get
That's
with
a big
anybody
bonus,
else,
yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm plugging here David Hochberg and Gary Novell, and I don't have their numbers.
I actually
handy,
go through Team Hochberg
I know
when
you.
I have
Yes.
when I have people looking to. I've had a few clients go through there, and I'm going to tell you what, they've been nothing but happy because Team Hochberg really treats people well.
I agree.
Treats them properly, and they're utmost professionals. So
I agree with that.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope.
Anyway,
you're
I
enjoying
hope
the show.
I hope that answered your question.
No, thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope you're enjoying the show. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649 to visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub. They'll fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because we're going to wrap this show up IRS Radio Hour style the only way we know how to, and that's to smack it right out of the park. Throw a Hail Mary or get a goal. Anyway, whatever you like, that's what's coming. Here on AM 560, The Answer. Yo, that's how much of a professional I am. I was like, I got.
Although you made Debbie miss the cue for my my answer, or thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. We missed it. That's all right. Jimmy said it. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. So now my computer's starting to start an hour.
Lester, terrible.
What happened? Another
terrible.
Don't talk to me.
Bases loaded, 5-1, top fourth, no outs. They pulled and brought in Bass. What the hell's wrong with you, Lester?
That's the second time now that he had bases loaded there. So whatever. What are you gonna do? Okay, now we're gonna talk about sports. Let's not talk about this sport. Let's talk about.
They have that all the time.
What's that? Who's that?
I had to contact the sign company. Don't take it down.
What? Oh, I hope they didn't send anybody.
They didn't. They were going to take it down on Monday.
Okay, so that's good.
It's good. Yeah. And
Did your managing broker say that too?
Yeah, I called because I have the agreements. That's good. So now you're an attorney. My question to you is, since they sent over the documents, even though it's not entirely sent, because they need to remake it, is it still enough to?
I don't understand what
They need to. There's a couple of forms that are missing. Rate on disclosure.
Well, no, the contract is signed.
There's one signature that needs to be there.
On the contract?
Yes.
It's not there?
No. So it's not binding, is it?
Not on him. On her it is.
Okay.
Could be binding. I'm not sure how. It depends how the contract reads.
Okay.
You guys, people are watching.
I know. We're watching. I'm watching.
Can you cut the mics?
Someone's always
No.
watching.
It is true. This is America.
Remember the song?
In the 21st. No.
Private eyes are watching you.
This is tough stuff
I
because
do.
I'll tell you what, I have.
That's Hall & Oates. They were just here in Chicago. Who backed them up? I think Train. Backed them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying out there.
Open for them.
If you have any questions,
that's
feel
true.
free to ask away. We're going to wrap up the show.
Should I talk about my new favorite song?
No,
Okay.
do not, because it's probably 500 years old.
It isn't. It's brand new. Just came off the presses.
What is it?
It's
Taylor Swift.
She wrote the song, but it's by Sugarland, and it's called Babe, and
That song is old as hell.
it is not. You're thinking about Styx. This is not a Styx song, and but she just wrote this. She wrote it years ago, but Sugarland just released it July 7th. That's how new this is, and they have a new video out where Taylor Swift sings on the song, and she's a redhead on the video. It's awesome. I like Taylor Swift. She's very attractive and has a nice voice.
People are listening to what you're saying.
I'm telling them that. They know that. Everybody knows that. That's why she's famous. She's a great. I think she's a genius. A songwriter. Songwriter genius.
Spotify stock is really surprising me. I'm very happy I bought that at
Good.
$149.
People are listening, Jim.
So what?
I'm just kidding.
Buy Spotify.
I'm just kidding.
Actually, it's down. They're saying the threshold is at 210.
Well, let me tell you this about my Microsoft update. It started at the beginning of the show, and it's just now starting my computer. So, wow, that was great. Good thing they did it in the middle of the day. Why can't they do that in the middle of the night for me? But no, they got to do it in the middle of the day. I need my computer, but now I can use it. Anyway, thank you, Microsoft.
Thank you, Mr. Microsoft.
Let's wrap this show up so we can watch the Cubs and yell at them.
Okay, so I had a new meme.
No.
Is that right, meme? I had a new meme today. Someone posted something. They had a billboard about Russian collusion. Boris and Natasha, we think it's moose and squirrel. And they said you have to be 60 or older to know what that means. I'm like, I'm not 60. I know what that means.
I know what that means.
I know, and you know what it means. You don't have to be
Rocky
60.
and Bullwinkle.
Yes. So you don't have to be 60 to know what that means.
So stupid. Guy I'm working with, he was a guy that is out of the office. We're sitting talking, and he brings something up, and he goes he brings up War of the Worlds, and I was like, oh yeah, I've read that book. He goes, it's surprising because I brought that up to a kid your age. He has no idea what the hell that is, except for the Tom Cruise movie.
Wow, I didn't know Tom Cruise made a movie.
Yeah. But I was like, which War of the Worlds? The one with
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles over the radio, and he goes, well, again, kids your age don't know that. I was like, I do, because I'm not stupid.
Well, I don't think you have to be stupid not to know that.
I don't think it gauges your intelligence if you know Orson Welles or not.
But that was a big event in
Citizen Kane.
He didn't overact either, Jim. So don't.
I know.
Don't try to tell me
I know.
he
I'm not.
No, yeah, I think he did overact.
A teeny bit.
Orson Welles. Let's do the show.
I like Orson Welles.
All set.
Yes, let's do.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not your I am your
co-host.
co-host. I'm not your host, attorney Stephen Leahy, but your co-host, Jim Leahy. And this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
I am with group Deborah Schreiner, Stephen Leahy. Best in the business, Deborah Schreiner, by the way.
Attorney
Hands down.
Stephen Leahy.
I've been sad because we have been gone for 3 weeks. We finally got back together, reunited, and it feels
So good.
so good.
I wanted to also plug the book again. Wrigley Field's Amazing Vendors. So look it up. Go get the book. Buy
You
the
can
book.
find it actually at Barnes and Noble. If you're
Lloyd
out
is
and about.
Lloyd's one of the authors. Lloyd is still a vendor at Wrigley
Didn't you
Field.
have him on the show last
Had
week?
him on the show last week with my friend who's also a vendor, Abe, and he's also a vendor. So, but get the book. I'm plugging it.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, that they're doing well with that book.
I'm
I'm
too.
glad it's gaining traction.
Maybe I'll get a free beer out of it.
Maybe.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
You know what a free beer in really is?
You know
Wow.
what that costs?
Not like it. I told you, $5 beer, Busch beers at Busch Stadium. It was awesome. Love that. Wish we had that at Wrigley. Not Busch. I drink old style, so I stick with old style.
They have old style up at Milwaukee.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
I would be
In the
surprised.
stands.
I would have been surprised
They
about
break.
that.
They break. Me too. I was too.
I would have been surprised.
Because they walked through with the lining kugels, and then all of a sudden they're like,
Yeah.
oh, so I was like, okay.
Dining Kugel.
Well, I'll do it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying this
I
weekend.
hope you watched-
It's been kind of soggy.
I hope you watched Kyle Schwarber in the home run derby.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
He hit more home runs than everybody else. Did
Yeah,
you know
he
that?
did. Yeah, he
53
did. Yeah,
something
he
home
did.
runs. I thought he needed to get over 20. Then he kind of fell down there at the end because he had the extra 30
tired.
seconds. I know you get tired at the last 30 seconds. It looks like but that's when Bryce Harper he turned it on at the end and he hit a bunch
when
at
you
the
have,
end. I
because
know
it's
all
so
the
hard.
crowd.
When you're second, you have like a goal that you have to get. When you're first, you're
I
so
know,
tired. You're
I
like,
know,
okay,
I know.
maybe 18 will work.
It's absolutely an advantage
This is
to
why
go
I
last.
think that
absolutely, an
that's why I
advantage.
think that
The format stinks.
the format's terrible.
I
I
agree
think it
with
should
that.
be 10 outs.
Well,
If you want to really change,
Or
way
why
they
isn't it just a running tally
they used to do it that
for
way.
all of the rounds?
yes,
They used to do it that
No,
way.
You can't
Yeah,
do it
for
all
all
rounds.
of the rounds.
No, you can't do it all the rounds.
Yeah, because then it's who got
You got
the
the most home
highest
runs.
out of all of the rounds.
Kind of makes sense though to say, well, who should win?
because they want to
Who-
make it. They want to make it.
I sound like a Hillary
they wanna,
Clinton.
They want to make it shorter, and they want to get all the millennials' attention spans because they think that, oh my God, nobody's attending baseball games. Attendance down. Actually, if you look at the numbers, the Nielsen ratings,
Yeah,
baseball's like
Good, yeah.
number 2 slot throughout the. I think only one market, which is Miami, and Toronto, they weren't able to gauge it, but they're top 3 in Major League Baseball in every market.
I don't know
Again, except for Miami or Toronto, they can't because Toronto's not in the United
I don't know if our
States.
listeners know this, but I'm a big baseball
Yeah,
fan.
I am
like
too.
Baseball.
And I'll tell you, and they go, listen, it's because the weather's been
And
terrible.
hot dogs.
Weather's been bad
an
everywhere.
old style.
Weather's been bad.
Chicago.
People don't want to. And you know what?
The law.
Ticket prices are a little too expensive, too.
Constitution.
This past week was
Whatever.
National Hot Dog Week. Did you
Yes,
know that?
I did know that, but I didn't get a hot dog on that day. And
I did.
Last year at National Hot Dog Day, I did downtown. I was downtown. I went to Gold Coast Dogs and got a hot dog on a hot dog day. Not as good as my hot dog, but good. Good hot dogs. Okay, so
You know what's just as good as your hot dogs?
What's that, Jim?
Opum tax resolutions.
as
That's
a
right,
tax
because-
resolution company, the best in the business.
That's right, ladies
No,
and
I shouldn't
gentlemen.
say that.
312-664-6649 to visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your help to fight the IRS. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in Northeastern Illinois, give me, Jim Leahy, a call with that properties, 847-271-3695. And also, too, if you like the show, same bad time, same bad channel, Sunday at 5 on that one station we know and love. We hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Listen next week because it's coming at you here on AM 560.
The answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you had a wonderful show. We're going to wrap up real quick because we got a Cubs game to go watch, even though they're getting kind of blown out right now.
Sir.
But that offense that they have, you never know.
And I misspoke though. It's still working on updates. 74% complete. Don't turn off my computer. What am I going to stay in here all day and wait for this stupid thing
Close
to
it up.
It says don't.
It doesn't turn it off. It stays in.
Oh, it does turn it off.
No, it doesn't. Oh, wow.
Okay, good folks. Now next week, be here again next week. I think we'll be an hour later, probably. Isn't that right,
there's
Debbie?
going to even be a point of watching the Cubs.
Are they getting killed?
8-1.
Oh,
no outs, bases loaded. No, it's not. I hate it when teams just throw away the day. You know, it's like, well, why so early? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, same bad time, same bad channel. Leave a question, and we'll answer it for you next week. Thank you so much. Have a good day.